Hello everyone. My name is Kunal, and I'm your physics tutor. And we are actually doing optics, ray optics. And today is our lecture number 4. So let me quickly recap the things कि हमने previous classes में क्या क्या चीजें cover करी थी. So in previous classes, we are actually deal with the some definitions like image, object, and field of view and all, right? And we are actually try to understand the rules that when the image formation by the plane mirror. So हमने कुछ कुछ rules देखी थी जिनमें से था कि the distance from the object from plane mirror is equal to distance of the object image from the plane mirror and all, right? So right now we are actually try to actually find the number of images you have to find, like how many images will be formed when the plane mirror are when one or more than one plane mirror are actually arranged in a way. So let's try to find. Actually, these are some problem based on the previous classes, so you don't have to worry about that. So let's take a question. So there is actually two mirrors, and there is actually the second mirror, right? And there is a line joining the two mirror, obviously, and between them an object is kept, which is actually 2 meter from the one mirror and the 4 meter from the another mirror, right? And let me call as this mirror as M1 and this mirror as M2, right? And you have to find the number of images and the distance. You have to find actually number of images and position of images, right? So I'm going to tell you shortcut things, but first you have to fill it. So there is the object. So first image, if I'm going to take it as in the mirror 1, so it will be like 2 meter behind the mirror, right? This is I'm called as I1 and I2 as 4 meter behind, right? Now we have an actually things. What I'm trying to say you is for this mirror there is an object which is actually, this is actually 2 meter, obviously 8 meter away from the mirror, right? So there is another image which is actually formed 8 meter away from this, right? Let me call it as I4, and for this mirror we have actually 10 meter away there is an actually formation of image. Let me call it as I2. So this distance is 10 meter. That means what I'm trying to say कि देखो ये मेरा ऑब्जेक्ट है, मैं पहले क्या कर रहा हूँ, पहले M1 में इसकी इमेज देख रहा हूँ which I am called it as I1, जो कि 2 meter बियॉन्ड द मिरर बन रहा है. इसी सेम ऑब्जेक्ट का M2 जो इमेज बना रहा है वो 4 meter बियॉन्ड द बना रहा है, बिकॉज इट्स ओबे द, लाइक हमने प्रीवियस क्लास में डिस्कस करी थी कि डिस्टेंस बिटवीन व्हेन image formation in plane mirror. So what we discussed, the distance between the object to mirror is actually is equal to the distance between the image to the mirror, right? So that's why these are same, right? So right. So give me a moment. Okay. So okay. So यहाँ पे क्या हो रही है कि जो फर्स्ट रिफ्लेक्शन है, जो फर्स्ट मिरर की इमेज है, वो सेकंड मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट का काम कर रहा है, राइट? इन सेकंड रिफ्लेक्शन फर्स्ट मिरर का इमेज, जो फर्स्ट मिरर से जो इमेज बनी है वो सेकंड मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट की काम कर रही है, एंड जो फर्स्ट रिफ्लेक्शन से जो सेकंड मिरर का जो इमेज बना है वो फर्स्ट मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट का काम कर रही है. देखो मैं फिर से बोलता हूँ, ठीक है? शांति से आपने बस सुननी है जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ. पहला ऑब्जेक्ट हमने लिया, उसका हमने रिफ्लेक्शन कराया फर्स्ट मिरर से, तो उसकी इमेज बनी I1. उसी ऑब्जेक्ट का सेकंड मिरर से रिफ्लेक्शन कराया, इमेज बनी I2. नाउ व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज, फर्स्ट, मेरी बातों को ध्यान से सुनना, फर्स्ट मिरर से बनी हुई इमेज सेकंड मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट की काम करेगी, सेकेंड मिरर से बनी हुई इमेज फर्स्ट मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट का काम करे, एंड दिस प्रोसेस कंटिन्यूस, एंड दिस प्रोसेस रिपीट कंटिन्यूअसली. लेट मी ट्राई टू से इट अगेन. फर्स्ट मिरर का इमेज सेकेंड मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट की काम करेगी, एंड सेकेंड मिरर का इमेज फर्स्ट मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट की काम करेगी. ओके, so these things that you have to keep in mind. So let me write it here so it will be clear to all of you. Let me write it here. Repeated process, right? ये जो होगा ये प्रोसेस रिपीट कर रही होगी, एंड वो ये है फर्स्ट मिरर. हाँ, फर्स्ट मिरर, let me write it in the image formed by first mirror. The image formed by first mirror is act as object for second mirror and vice versa. So this is an actually important thing. ठीक है कि फर्स्ट एक्चुअली फर्स्ट मिरर के द्वारा फर्स्ट मिरर की इमेज सेकेंड मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट की काम करेगा, एंड सेकेंड मिरर का इमेज फर्स्ट मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट का काम करेगा. So these are the things that you have to keep in mind, and this process actually continues, right, till it end. So that's why what I'm trying to say, the number of images is actually infinite, and the distance high and the position of the image is shown in the figure. But if you have asked like fourth figure कहाँ बनेगा या फिर 12th figure कहाँ बन रही होंगी, then अब आप कितने सारे यहाँ पे देख रहे होगे कि किसका रिफ्लेक्शन कितनी हो रही है, क्योंकि हमें कॉन्सेप्ट बस ये लगाना है. The image formed by the first mirror is act as object for the second mirror, and the image formed by the second mirror is act as the object for the first mirror. And the total number of images formed is actually infinite. So these things that you have to keep in mind. Now, what I'm trying to say is कि हमें अगर पता करनी हो कि 12th इमेज जो कि मिरर 2 के द्वारा बन रही है उसकी पोजीशंस क्या होगी, या फिर मेनली 12th तो नहीं पूछता है, बट इफ इट आस्क so how you calculate that, right? 10th, 8th, 7th, any. So the things is that there is a trick. So let me write it here. For actually position of the mirror, for the position of the image, there is actually short trick. For the position of images, let's try to use the short trick, and that is actually first write the mirror 1, and then write here the mirror 2, and then what you have to do, first write the distance of the, in first step, in first line you have to write the distance of the object from mirror. So from M1 mirror there is a separation between the object and the M1 is actually 2 meter. So write it here 2 meter, and for M2 it is 4 meter, right? And then what you have to do, you have to just add the distance between two mirror in reverse order. Let me tell you, the reverse order is like the distance between the two mirror is actually 6 meter, right? Actually the distance between the M1 and the M2 is actually 4 plus 2, which is actually 6 meter. So what we have to do, we have to just add the 6 meter reversibly. So I have to add 6 meter like this. I have to add the 6 meter like this, and I have to repeat this process. So when I add, so there will be 8 meter, there will be 10 meter, again add 6, so there will be 16, there will be 14, right? Again add 6, there will be 20, there will be 22, again add 6, there will be 28, and there will be 26, right? Again add 6, there will be 32, there will be 34, right? So these things happening continuously. So if you have asked like find write the position of the image formed by the sixth image formed by the first mirror. So what you have to write? The first image is formed at actually 2 meter, 10 meter, 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At 34 meter behind the mirror, there is an image actually formed by the M1. So this thing that you have to keep in mind, right? So ये एक शॉर्टकट होता है, शॉर्ट ट्रिक होता है that you have to keep in mind. इसको आप रिकॉल ऐसे कर सकते हो कि देखो सबसे पहले क्या करो कि M1 पहले क्वेश्चन को समझो. हमारे पास दो मिरर दी गई हुई हैं, दोनों एक्चुअली पैरेलल रखा हुआ है। दो एक मिरर से एक ऑब्जेक्ट रख दी गई है 2 मीटर की दूरी पे, एंड उसी ऑब्जेक्ट का दूसरे मिरर से जो डिस्टेंस है वो है 4 मीटर। नाउ यू हैव टू फाइंड द टोटल नंबर ऑफ इमेजेस एंड देयर पोजिशंस, right? So what you have to do, you have to simply do the one thing, like you have to find the positions of the image and the number of the image. So actually the number of images are actually infinite, but the positions of the image that you have to find, उसमें कॉन्सेप्ट बस यही लगानी है कि फर्स्ट मिरर के द्वारा जो इमेज बन रहा वो सेकंड मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट की तरह ट्रीट होगा, एंड जो सेकंड मिरर के द्वारा जो इमेज बन रहा है वो फर्स्ट मिरर के लिए ऑब्जेक्ट की तरह ट्रीट होगा। तो उसको हम यूज करके लिख सकते हैं, बट इट इज नॉट द रेलिवेंट वे टू राइट द all of the position of the all of the images. So there is a shortcut trick which I'm going to tell you, is that for the position of the images that you have to do, first you have to write the mirrors. And first line, you have to write the distance of the object from the each of the mirror. So the distance of the object from M1 is actually 2 meter, and from M2 is actually 4 meter. Now what you have to add? You have to add the distance between the mirror in reverse order, or you can say diagonally. So the distance between the mirror is actually 6 meters. So you have to add the things, add the 6 meter diagonally. So it will be like form an order. Exactly will you give the positions of the image formed by the both of the mirrors. So this is actually a shortcut that you have to keep in mind. Let's take another example. So to clear this concept, let's take another example, which I'm gonna take it as question number 2. There is a two mirror. Obviously, both mirrors are actually parallel. So there will be number of images will be infinite. So there is actually two mirror, and there is image which is actually 1 meter. There is an object which is kept at 1 meter from the first mirror, and from the second mirror, the distance of the object is like 3 meters, right? And you have to find the positions of the images. So these things you have to find. So just you have to use the shortcut, right? So just you have to use the shortcut, which I'm already taught you. So the things that I want to tell you again, just write the both of the mirror here. And in first line, what you have to write? In first line, you have to write the distance between the object and the mirror. So from M1, the distance of the object is 1 meter, and from M2, the distance of the object is 3 meters. And the D is actually equal to the distance between the two plane mirror, which is actually 3 plus 1, actually 4 meters. And you have to add diagonally, right? So you have to add +4 to here, +4 to here. So there will be like 5, 7, there will be 11, there will be 9, right? And then there will be 13, there will be 15. So in this way, this continues. If you write to one more, so there will be 17, there will be 19, there will be 21, there will be 23, there will be 21. So this process continue till infinite, right? So if you like, you can analyze this problem. Let me tell you how. If you are sitting in a salon, right? So there is actually the perfect example, like there is actually two parallel plane mirror is actually kept when you are at salon. तो वहां पे क्या होता है कि दो पैरेलल प्लेन मिरर रखी होती है, एक आपके फेस के ठीक सामने, एक और आपके फेस के ठीक पीछे. तो इफ यू वांट टू फील दिस phenomena, you can do the same thing what I'm trying to tell you. Suppose that you are an object and you are at a distance of 1 meter from the one plane mirror, right? And this is actually the frontal side of yours, and in backward side the mirror is actually kept at the 3 meter from you. एंड देन ऑब्वियसली अगर आपने शीशे में देखे होंगे तो बहुत सारी इमेजेस, कंटिन्यूअस इमेजेस बन रही होती है. द थिंग्स इज नाउ यू हैव टू फाइंड द पोजीशंस ऑफ द ईच ऑफ द इमेजेस. आपकी इमेज सामने भी बन रही होती है, आपकी इमेज पीछे भी बन रही होती है, राइट? तो आपको ये पता करनी है कि मेरी थर्ड इमेज फ्रंटल प्लेन मिरर पे कितनी दूर पे बन रही है. और आपको फाइंड करना है कि मेरी थर्ड इमेज पीछे वाली मिरर पे कितनी दूर पे बन रही है। सो इफ यू, बिकॉज दोनों डिस्टेंस सेम नहीं होंगे, तो अगर फ्रंटल प्लेन मिरर पे देखा, तो आपके फ्रंटल प्लेन मिरर पे जो थर्ड इमेज बन रही होगी वो 9 मीटर दूर बन रहा होगा। और जो बैक एंड पे अगर आपने अपना, अगर बेसिकली थर्ड इमेज आपको फाइंड करनी है पीछे वाले मिरर पे, तो वो एक्चुअली बन रही होगी 11 मीटर पे। राइट, सो दीज आर द थिंग दैट यू हैव टू कीप इन माइंड। आई होप इट विल बी क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू। और ये सलून वाले प्रॉब्लम से आपको चीजें समझ में आ गई होंगी अच्छे से कि व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू। ओके, सो लेट्स टेक some other example which is actually based on two plane mirror inclined at some angle, because in this case we are taking the two plane mirror which are actually kept at in parallel. Now let's take the two plane mirror which are kept at some angle. In this case actually, when two plane mirror are kept at some angle, वहाँ पे infinite image नहीं बन रही होगी, वहाँ पे number of images will be finite, and you have to find the number of images also and position it will be also, right? So let's take the another case which is actually stating that the two plane mirror are inclined at some angle. Actually, let me give the heading here. Two plane mirror inclined at some angle, right? So what you have to do, uh, you have to find the number of images and its place. Now, let's take a look. So let us suppose that actually, let me draw a figure here so that it will be help a lot to you. I have to insert a circle here. Okay, so that is fine actually. And let me tell you actually this is the center. Assume that this is center. Okay, I'm not taking in a perfect way, but yeah, let us assume this is actually its center. Now start inserting some line from here like this. Take another line like this. Okay, take another line. Take 3 or more lines so it will be easy to understand, right? Take another line from below. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Now, no need to take some more line here. Okay. So what I'm trying to say, okay, let us suppose that actually these two are our mirror. These two are our actually mirror. Look at these both of the mirrors carefully. This is actually our M1 and this is actually our M2. And both are actually kept at an angle of theta. And on this line, there is an object placed O, which is actually theta 1, and the angle between the line joining the center and the object and the first mirror is actually theta 1, and same applied for the mirror 2, which is actually theta 2. And now you have to find the total number of images and total number of the actually positions of the images, right? So these two things that you have to find. Now what you can do here is look at carefully that there is a figure given, basically two plane mirror which is actually kept at an angle, and the angle between the line joining the center and the first and the object and the plane mirror is actually theta 1, and the angle between the line joining the object and the center to the second mirror is actually theta 2. Now you have to find the total number of mirrors and the position. So what you have to do here is same thing that you do for the parallel mirrors, the same thing that you have to repeat here. The only difference is in parallel plane mirrors, the number of images is actually infinite, but there the number of images will be finite. So what you have to do, first you have to write the M1, M2, and you all know that the angle between the two plane mirrors is actually theta. Angle between two mirrors is actually given, which is actually theta. Now you have to write the angle between the line joining the object to the center and the first mirror, which is actually theta 1, and it is actually the theta 2. Now what you have to do, you have to just add the both of the like angle between the mirrors in a diagonally way, as you do in the two parallel plane mirrors. So theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta 2 plus 2 theta 1 plus 2 theta, right? Then theta 1 plus 3 theta 2 plus 3 theta. Similarly, it's going on. But ये number of images मैंने क्या बोली थी? Finite बनेंगी, right? So how can you, ये कहाँ तक जाएगी? तो ये stops at if next angle greater than or equal to 180 degree. Greater than or equal to 180 degree. राइट अगर इनमें से कोई भी एंगल ग्रेटर देन और इक्वल टू 180 डिग्री हो जाती है दैट मीन्स उसके बाद इमेजेस नहीं बन रही होंगे सो यू हैव टू काउंट द नंबर ऑफ इमेजेस कितने बनी एंड पोजीशन तो पता चल ही रहा है एंड कहाँ पे जाके हमें रोकनी है तो हमें स्टॉप एट विद द नेक्स्ट एंगल इज एक्चुअली ग्रेटर देन और इक्वल टू 180 डिग्री राइट अब यहाँ पे एक चीज बता रही हूँ कि इट मे बी पॉसिबल कि दो इमेजेस एक दूसरे को ओवरलैप कर रही हो तो ओवरऑल तो एक ही इमेज काउंट होगी ना राइट समटाइम्स इट हैपेंस कि दो इमेजेस एक दूसरे को ओवरलैप कर रही होंगी दो इमेजेस एक दूसरे को ओवरलैप कर रही होंगी सो ओवरऑल वी हैव टू काउंट ओनली वन इमेजेस so how can you do so the things is let's write a concept here which is actually checking for the overlapping checking for overlapping you have to check for the overlap. So how can you do so? So you have to write the condition for that. So actually the condition is sum of last angles plus theta, where theta is the actually the angle between the two mirrors is equal to 2 pi. Then there is actually overlapping. Okay. Then there is actually overlapping, otherwise no overlapping. Otherwise no overlapping. Let me write it in a clear way so it will be easily and visible to you. Otherwise, no overlapping. Otherwise, no overlapping. I hope this thing will be clear to you. Now, let me tell you again what I'm trying to say. Look at here. The things that I want to tell you is you have to stop where the next angle would be equal to or greater than equal to 180 degree. That means आपको कोई भी angle को 180 डिग्री से ज्यादा नहीं ले जानी है. And the second thing is like somehow in this case it's possible कि दो images एक दूसरे को overlap कर रही हो. So how can you check like कि दो images एक दूसरे को overlap कर रही हैं? The things is the add the last of the two angle and the angle between the mirrors. If the sum is actually 2 pi, so you can say that the overlapping, otherwise there will be no overlapping. So let's take a question, quick question based on the above concept, and you have to find the simple thing that you have to find the positions and the number of images, because in this case, number of images are not infinite. So you have to calculate. So let's take the question. So find total number of image M1. Okay. And positions. So there's actually two mirror. There's actually M2 and this is actually our M1. These are our actually two mirror, and on this line there's an object kept and the angle is 40 degree from first mirror and 20 degree from the two mirror. That means the theta is actually our 60 degree. That means the two mirror is actually kept at the angle of 60 degree, or we can say inclined at the 60 degree. Now you have to find the number of images and its position. So simply think that you have to do is like write M1, M2. From M1 it's 40 degree and 20 degree, and simply you have to add the 60 degree diagonally. So it will be 100, 160, and then you add there will be 60, 140, Now you have to stop where the next angle would be the 180 degrees. So when you add the 60 degree to it, it will be like 220 degree and it will be like 200. So you have to stop it here. So the total number of image formed is actually, अभी तक हमें कितनी मिल रही है, 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 images. Now you have to check for the overlapping. So how to check for the overlapping? Add the two of the angles. Add the last two of the angles. 160 plus, यहाँ पे लिखता हूँ मैं, checking for overlapping. So what we have to do? Add the last two of the angles and just add theta on that. That means the angle between the mirror. So 160 plus 140 plus 60, it is actually is equal to 2 pi. That means 360. So that's, we can say that there is actually overlapping. So we can say that there is actually overlapping. So number of images will be, because यहाँ पे एक दो images overlap कर रही हैं, so you have to count it as one. So the number of images will be 6 minus 1, which is actually is equal to 5. Right? So these things you have to understand what I'm trying to say. Let me tell you again. First thing is like the angle between the line joining the object and to the center, and the first mirror is 40 degree, and the same for the mirror 2 is actually 20 degrees. So you have to write the 2 of the mirror, and you have to write the first the angle between them, and then you have to add the diagonally the angle between the mirror. So I'm doing the same thing, and in this case you have to find one thing. आपको रुक वहां पे जानी है जहां पे नेक्स्ट एंगल, अपकमिंग एंगल विल बी equal to or greater than 180 degree, right? So after that, if you add the 60 degree, it will be 220 degree and it will be 200 degree, which is actually greater than 180 degree. So it will be not considered, right? So you have to take only these 6 cases, out of which now you have to check for the overlapping. So you have to take the last 2 angles. These are actually angles. So you have to take the actually last the 2 of the angles, and then you have to check for the overlapping. So how to check for the overlapping? Add the last 2 of the angles and add the angle between the mirrors. If those sums equal to 2 pi, so you can say there is actually overlapping. So you have to subtract 1 from the images. So actually the total number of images will be 6 minus 1, which is actually is equal to 5. I hope this will be clear to all of you, right? Let's take another example to clear this concept. Let's take, okay, let's take 2 examples to clear these cases, right? Question 2. In this case, actually, this is actually our mirror 1. This is actually our mirror 2. And this is 20 degree. This is 10 degree. Okay. इस बारी थोड़ी I think number of images ज़्यादा होंगी. Let's take. So we have to find the positions and number of images. So there will be M1, there will be M2. Start writing it from 10 degree, because from M1 it will be 10 degree, M2 20 degree. And the theta is actually 30 degree. That means the 2 of the mirror is inclined at the angle of 30 degree. So let's start writing. So 30, 50, start adding actually 30 degree in the inverse way. 40, 70, 80, 110, 100, 130, 140 degree, 170 degree, 160 degree. After that, if you can write, there will be 190 degree and there will be 200 degree, which is actually not considered, because we have to stop when the angle we get is actually equal to or greater than 180 degree. So this case we don't have to consider. So we have just considered these. So how many images till now here? And last we have to check for the overlapping. So the total number of images is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. Right now we get the 12 images. Now at last you have to check for the overlapping. So let me write it here, checking for overlapping, right? We are actually checking for the overlapping because we don't know some of the image actually overlap or what. We actually didn't have any idea. So, right. So checking for the overlapping is you have to add the last of the two angle and plus the angle between the mirror, which is actually 30 degree. So it will be like 360 degree. It's actually 2 pi. So yeah, there is actually overlapping. Okay, so actually there is actually overlapping. So, okay, now the number of images is actually, uh, how many we get? 12. So there will be like 12 minus 1, which is actually 11. So now total number of images formed, which is 11. Let's take the one more example and then we will finish today's class. Let's take, this is actually mirror 2. This is actually mirror 1. And there is actually an object which actually kept 30 degree from one mirror and 40 degree from the other mirror. Right. It is actually kept at some different angle. One is kept at the 30 degree from other and other one is kept at the 40 degree from the other. Okay. So now you have to again find the image position of images and you have to find the position of the images and number of images. Right. So how can you do so? So you just have to write the M1, M2 and the angle like 30 degree, 40 degree. And the theta here is actually 70 degree, right? 70 degree because the angle between the mirrors were 70 degree. So there will be 100 degree, there will be 110 degree, and there will be like 180 degree. So you have to stop it here. Like if you add some angle, there will be 180 degree. So you have to stop whenever you get the next angle will be 180 degree or greater than equal to 180 degree. So this case we don't have to consider. So till now we get only how many images? 4 images. Now you have to check for the overlapping. Check for overlapping. So how can you check for the overlapping things? So the things that you can check is actually the add the last of the two of the angles. So 110 degree and 100 degree and add in it the angle between the mirror, which is actually 70 degree. The theta is actually here 70 degree. So when you add, you will get it's not equal to 2 pi or you can say 360 degree. So therefore here no overlapping, right? So here no overlapping. So the total number of images we get is actually 4. I hope this concept will be clear to all of you. Now let me write it here a noted point, which is actually termed as trajectories. So circular whose center is at intersection point of mirror. I hope it will be clear to all of you, right? Now let me quickly recap the things, है ना? कि हमने चीजें क्या-क्या चीजें कवर करी, क्या-क्या चीजें देखा. So it will be like we'll actually deal with the things. We actually check for the overlapping. देखो हमने आज की क्लास में क्या देखा कि कल की क्लास में हमने देखा था कि इमेज फॉर्मेशन प्लेन मिरर से कैसे होता है और क्या क्या चीजें हो रही होती हैं, राइट? सो द मेजर थिंग हमें वहां पे पता चला कि जो डिस्टेंस, ये आपको पता भी होगा ऑब्वियसली कि द डिस्टेंस बिटवीन द ऑब्जेक्ट फ्रॉम द प्लेन मिरर इज एक्चुअली इक्वल टू द डिस्टेंस ऑफ द इमेजेस फ्रॉम द प्लेन मिरर. आज हमें नंबर ऑफ इमेजेस एंड पोजीशन ऑफ द इमेज हमें फाइंड करनी थी. तो हमने स्टार्ट करा आज की क्लास दो प्लेन पैरेलल मिरर से, राइट? टू पैरेलल प्लेन मिरर से जहां पे हमने स्टार्ट करी. तो हमें पता है कि जब दो पैरेलल प्लेन में रखी होती है तो नंबर ऑफ इमेजेस कितनी बनती है? इनफाइनाइट, राइट? वो कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेस चलता रहता है बिकॉज लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ सलून, राइट? जब आप सलून में बैठते हो तो आपके फ्रंट पार्ट में भी एक मिरर रखी होती है और बैक एंड पे भी मिरर रखा होता है. And if you look into the mirror, you find that there is a number of images are formed, which are actually infinite. right? Which are actually infinite. So in these case that you have to keep this thing in mind, and what I'm trying to say. And then on the next onward, we are actually considering the two plane mirror which are actually kept at some angle. When two plane mirrors actually kept at an angle, so the number of images will be finite. And how I'm going to tell you, there is a short trick which I'm already going to tell you कि आपको कैसे यूज करनी है. And then you have to check for the overlapping kind of things कि क्या सच में overlap चीजें हो रही हैं. ये भी तो हो सकता है कि दो images एक दूसरे को overlap कर रहा हो. So you have to keep this thing in mind and you have to check it very, very carefully. So you can find the exact number of images and what? And positions of the images. So I think that's all for today's. Thank you. In tomorrow's class, we are going to discuss an important topic, right? This is actually important. Velocity of object and image. This is actually very important. These are some, क्योंकि देखो अभी तक जो भी आपने कवर करी है ना, आज के टॉपिक तो नहीं थी, आज के पहले जो भी 3 लेक्चर था वो ऑलरेडी आपने पढ़ रखा था. आई एम जस्ट स्टार्टिंग दी ऑप्टिक्स फ्रॉम बेसिक कि आपको कुछ भी दिक्कत नहीं आए. अगर आपको कहीं भी दिक्कत आए तो यू कैन गो थ्रू दी प्रीवियस लेक्चर, जिससे आपके सारे कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हो रहे होंगे. बट फ्रॉम टुमारो ऑनवर्ड वी आर स्टार्टिंग सम इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक्स जो एक्चुअल में आप नहीं पढ़े होंगे अभी तक, which is actually the velocity of the object and the image. Like, let me give a view here. So you have a question is actually, there is actually a mirror and a train is actually going in some direction with the 50 kilometer per hour. So if you, and there is an observer sitting in front of mirror watching the train, not in real, but it's actually watching its images, right? So its images will be something like this. So what is the velocity of image observed by this observer? So these are the things new to you. So it will be cleared in tomorrow's class. These are actually important topics. So I'm just giving the brief idea about that, but I just give you to the glance. So it will be discussed in a well manner in tomorrow's class. So आज के लिए इतनी ही थी. Thank you. Try to practice these like positions of images and number of images via questions, right? So, okay. Thank you.